Hello, everyone. It is Kenyon here. It is Basketball Rewind. We are here today. We're going to be talking about a couple different topics. We are going to be talking about your Raptors if you are a Raptors fan. But before we get into the Raptors, we're going to talk about a couple other things. Obviously, this is basically the last kind of week before we get into the true trade deadline. What's interesting to me is a domino already just went off, and that was followed up by subsequent moves. So it's interesting. Let's get into some of the moves, and then we're going to get into, Raptors stuff, because I think that there are takeaways in terms of going into the deadline with what just happened this week. Let's get into it. So, Cavs just made a move. As of speaking right now, the next, I believe, Thursday, because it's usually on a Thursday, next Thursday is going to be the trade deadline. It feels like the league has been kind of edging towards some sort of a series of trades that are going to go down. But of course, as guys are getting injured, things are happening. I think it is changing certain landscapes in terms of what's going to happen. For example, Golden State with Jimmy Butler going down. That's a tough thing to have happen in the middle of the season. And now, you hear them potentially in the mix for like a Giannis thing. So the two moves that did go down, I'm going to focus on one first, which is the bigger one, in my opinion. The Cavs traded DeAndre Hunter to the Kings for Dennis Schroeder, who dons another jersey. I think he's played for 11, either 11 or 19. He does not have the record, but it's 11. So he has 19 more to go, I think, to match. Oh man, who is it that has the record? I think it's Trevor Ariza. Ariza has quite a number of jerseys.
Trevor Ariza.
So I would say that he has like 28 jerseys or something like that. He has 19. So right. There you go. So So Dennis, if you are a Dennis Schroeder fan, your pocketbook is very, very not happy with all of the moves. But so it'd be Dennis, Keon Ellis, and Dario Saric is going to the third team with the Bulls. The Bulls are taking on Dario Saric. They're going to just basically waive his salary and eat that. And in exchange, they are getting 2 second-rounders to be able to do that, a 2027 second-rounder from the Kings, as well as a 2029 second-rounder from the Kings. The Kings are going to get the DeAndre Hunter, which allows them to start gearing up for the future, perhaps. It gets a decent low-buy candidate who hasn't had the best year this year, but last year he was solid, and I think he can kind of possibly help you to stabilize something around him and Keegan Murray and whoever they draft this year. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to ask you actually for your thoughts on this, since this is a very Raptors-centric space to some extent. Does this impact the Sabonis deal in a good way or a bad way?
It's interesting because in some ways the Kings consolidated salaries. So instead of like how some people have suggested, you trade RJ for Malik Monk and 2 other people or whatever, it's almost like they did the reverse of that, where they're consolidating trades. And I think part of it is that you have a guy like Keon Ellis. He's a restricted free agent. I know Raptors fans wanted him, but at the same time, you're looking at, okay, if you bring this guy in, you're going to have to pay him this summer. You're also going to have to pay Mamu. So it's like, well, where's this money coming from? Because we're already trying to get off of a guy like Ochai Agbaji. Now, Keon Ellis would be an upgrade over what you have on your bench. He is better than Grady. He is better than Ochai currently. And so he's a better defender and a better shooter. But is he what you want? I think that would be debatable, right?
Okay. So the kind of
I know that's not exactly you wanted to more say that's a bonus thing, but yeah.
So okay, I'll go bring in the Sabonis part where I'm thinking at. It's like this is what happens when you kind of like where you wait. For example, it's almost like bidding at an auction.
Right.
When you come in late with the bid, and someone gets it a little sooner for a better price.
Right.
This is what we're talking about, right? Because if you're a Raptors fan, to what you just said, the player you would probably want from the Kings roster besides Sabonis in the deal probably would be Keon Ellis.
Yeah.
to some extent. You don't want none of the rest that's out there from that standpoint. Unless they're going to give away Murray, which we know that ain't happening. So when you look at the roster, it's like, okay, who else besides Sabonis to fill this out to make it work? So now you just lost that opportunity. So now it really restricts what the parameters are of the deal now.
That's true, because now it's like there was a formation of a deal that has been floating out there that included Giannis coming back. Now, right. I didn't really like that, formation of the deal. That's just me. But yeah, the other thing though, it might make certain parts of that Sabonis deal potentially open up because the Kings basically traded. They're now at 11 players, and they have a certain period of time before they have to get back up to 14 to be compliant with the league.
Mm-hmm.
So it does suggest that they might be accepting a trade soon enough to balance out their roster from that standpoint rather than having to sign someone.
Yeah. And I think this is also a lesson, folks, when you're talking about from a management standpoint. You see what happens when you get, I would say the players are bad players. They're talking about the situation, bad contracts for your particular team. Then you're forced in this case to give up something that you probably didn't want to give up because you got to get rid of the contract. So you're going
to see the 2 second rounders to get rid of Dario Saric, you mean?
Exactly. Or in this case, even the fact if you want to move off a shooter, you got to throw in Keon Ellis for it to make someone worth someone's while, right? So like this is what we're dealing with.
That is true.
I'm sure in the next couple of weeks we're going to be discussing this with particular Raptors. That if those things happen, buckle up. That's all I got to say. Buckle up. It might be another young player you all might like. It might be draft compensation. You think might be too much, but I'm just warning you. Prepare yourself.
Yes. Now, from an East perspective, how do you think that this impacts the Cavs? Now, obviously they had Lonzo Ball, but Lonzo Ball has really not. I mean, I've been rooting for him to get healthy since before this year, but he's been in and out of the lineup, and he's not necessarily injured, but I don't think that he is fully healthy. And I mean, just from a field goal percentage and a 3-point percentage, this is one of his worst years. I mean, Lonzo Ball is shooting 30% from the field. Not that Keon Ellis from the field perspective is shooting a whole lot better. He's like 36 or 39% from the field. But he's also shooting 27% from deep and not great. So I don't think that the Lonzo Ball experiment really worked out how they were hoping. It was a low buy situation. But yeah, and with the other guy, Darius Garland, being a little bit in and out of the lineup, I think that this helps them stabilize that guard rotation. Yeah.
I think in sports, I think the toughest type of deals to make, and I think the Raptors are going to be falling into, they're in this category as well too. When you try to make the changes and you try to, obviously the changes you think will help you on a court basis, when really the issue is an off-court issue. That team needs a heart in Cleveland. Right. And same with the team that plays in this city that we live in, that this team in this case has, I'm sorry to say it, man, but they have a certain softness.
Yeah, there's definitely.
I've been saying it for a while now, and even Jack finally got the kahunas to say so the other night. Like, yeah. So when it comes to that from a GM standpoint is very hard to figure out how to address that unless you actually go out and try to find certain players. Sometimes it might be a coach that's like, some, SOB in this case here to kind of try to instill it. Most likely is a player. So from that perspective, the reason why as the weeks have gone by, just, throwing it out here from a Sabonis standpoint, that he moves into that category more and more in my mind is the target because it's becoming quite apparent in Cleveland as well here. On paper, Cleveland's team looks like, the 60-win team, just like last year, man. For sure should be at least no worse in the conference finals. And yet they can't ever get there. So what is it? Right? It's not the talent. It's the mentality. And at some point, it's like, to be honest with you, Donovan's a dog. But Donovan ain't got no one behind him back there. He ain't got no pit bulls when he looks over his shoulder.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sausage dogs out there. Some poodles are pretty funny.
Hey, man, some of them are pretty spunky.
Yeah. They're out there looking around like, where's some bunnies? Like, what the heck? It's like, so I don't know. And I said it before, Toronto's got a bit of the same type of situation. But
yeah,
it's part of the reason why a lot of people feel Toronto, Cleveland, for a Raptors perspective, is not a bad matchup. Because in some ways, they're looking at each other in the mirror.
In some ways. Although their top dog, I think, is a little bit has a little bit more offensive pizzazz, if you will. Like, I don't care how short he is, he is gonna step around.
Exactly, and he's always
just like
exactly. He's always been when the bright.
He might dunk it on you too, by the way.
Yeah. when the bright lights come on, he's got no problem stepping to the stage. So like to me, like
No.
you might
Oh
not
my
want
gosh, he is such a fun player to watch. I won't go through it, but like the whole
yeah,
back in the day, there was a chance to get him, and like it was like, oh my gosh, like come
yeah,
on, man.
yeah.
You're
But
telling
I
me
think that's the
Fred?
reason.
You're holding on to Fred and GTJ,
Yeah,
and potentially, or even, anyways, that's a whole other thing.
yeah. If we go there,
That's a
you
whole
drive
other thing.
yourself crazy.
I will. But yeah, so I think it does make the Cavs actually better. I think,
Mhm.
just to focus on them. I mean, it gives them another guard who, like you say, Dennis is not the best guard, especially if you're relying on him to be your main guy. But as a guy who can quote unquote punch up, I mean, you saw it with the Pistons, right? He helped the Pistons last year to punch up a little bit. He can sometimes go rogue, but I mean, he has guys that are going to keep him in line, like
Right.
Donovan being like, "No, give me the damn ball. What the heck are you doing?"
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You need a. I hate using the whole alpha thing, but you do need an alpha, and they do at least have an alpha, quote unquote,
Yes.
to
Yes.
basically say keep him in check so that he doesn't
Right.
go way off. Um,
Exactly.
so
No,
and
you
then
hit it on the head. Like
yeah,
that's why he was decent in Los Angeles, right? Because
mm,
he knew where the ball had to go. So he had to hush his mouth in this case here, right? But when he gets in a team where he can smell blood in the water,
yeah,
then you best be wary.
yes.
I won't say
Um,
which teams. I'm
yes.
just saying.
He can get his own bucket. He can do a lot of other
Yeah.
things too. So yeah, I know that he was rumored to be in the mix for Orlando. Obviously, he didn't end up there, but it would have been fun to see him and Franz kind of, continuing their international flair.
And the Wagner brothers going at it in
That'd
the
be fun.
back.
Hey, it would have been fun, man. It would have been fun. But Keon Ellis, I think, also from the Cavs' perspective, it gives them another guard who really kind of solidifies what they need in terms of a all around shooter, and he's going to have a chance to prove that he's worthy of a next deal. He is 26. So yeah, so again, from a Raptors perspective, I'm okay with not getting Keon Ellis. I know that was a thing, but yeah,
One thing with Cleveland, though, they've been trying to get that type of player for about 3 iterations now, right? It was Levert
yeah,
at one point. I can't remember.
Isaac Okoro,
Okoro. It was someone else even before that. They've always had to try to find this
yeah.
guard on the bench that's never fully worked out. So maybe this time they get it down.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that I think that they're better today than they were yesterday. Do you think that to go back to your other question, so do you think that this makes it more or less likely that Sabonis is gone? I personally do, because I don't see anyone trading for Zach LaVine until next year, because Zach LaVine next year is a 40-something million dollar expiring contract.
Yeah, I think with the rest of the guards there, maybe DeRozan, I think he'll have some value with some teams, but I think really Westbrook at this point doubt it. So I think really
Yeah.
you're looking at Levine, to your point, the contractual situation speaks for itself. So if you're looking from the Sabonis perspective and you're really trying to really reset things, he's your only asset you have left really that could really get you garner something for you that's really decent. And I think based on the fact that, see, here's the thing, Cleveland, and I'm not sure if Cleveland's move does it, but we were just talking off air about this. And I think what's going to happen in both conferences, but especially the East, because it's so balled up for the most part, everybody outside Detroit, is like everyone's kind of watching, like almost like a Mexican standoff. Everyone's watching to see who's going to go first. And the
Yeah,
moment
you're
one
saying
team
no
goes
one, no
first,
one's, no one's being proactive. Everyone's being reactive in the East, but it is an
yeah,
arms race.
yeah, it's an arms race. So no one wants to, everyone's watching to see who's going to make that move first. And the moment someone makes a big move, it's on. I'm just telling you right now, it's on. He was to see a flurry and then maybe in 72 hours, like, oh, okay. And I don't
Yes.
know who's going to be the first one. If the Raptors get Sabonis, for example, that might trigger the effect, and off we go. For example, I can see it happening.
Yeah, I don't know what is the best place for DeRozan either. By the way, he has one more year left, and he's played really well. I just don't know where he ends up.
But
So
when in doubt, the Clippers, right? They want every Southern California boy. So when in doubt,
that is true. I don't know if that helps the Clippers, but I mean,
come on, now.
far be it from me, as I would say. So, um, moving along to the other deal, lesser deal is Atlanta traded I think was it Krejci?
Yeah,
I hope I'm pronouncing that correct.
yeah.
But he was, oh man, he was shooting like 46% this year. And so they traded him away, and they traded him to the Blazers, which is interesting because the Blazers traded Duop and I think 2 seconds. So you're seeing these lesser deals to kind of maneuver around. The Blazers are being rumored, and since we're here, I haven't put it out yet. I've been slow on putting out my shorts, but Giannis has asked out. We should be talking about that. Blazers are rumored for Giannis. What do you think about Giannis asking out and all that?
Um, I think he sees where things are heading. I mean, pretty much it was a done deal when he starts booing the crowd about 2 weeks ago. It's pretty much
Oh yeah, that was
right.
crazy.
Like that pretty much says, you know what, we've had enough.
It's
Both
like,
sides
bro,
have
you
had
need to
enough.
chill.
It's been fun. Let's pack our bags, and it's been fun. We'll sign the papers. We'll head out the door. The divorce is about to happen. So the more I saw that, I was like, oh, it's just about to go down. And then the frustration, how the team's been playing, the talent is pretty abysmal around him. And I mean, he's in theory, he's still in his prime years. He
He's
don't
at the
want,
tail end, but yes, yes,
and
yes.
so he don't want to be losing out on these next couple of years. So I think yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I think this is a cat and mouse game. I think he was using it as a way. I'll put it this way. I don't think he wants to leave Milwaukee, but I think he's trying to put
No,
pressure on Milwaukee to do something more. And
and
so
I think that they're done with the poking.
yeah, exactly. So I think Milwaukee's like, okay, we'll move on in and fine. He's like, all right, we'll move on too. So I mean, that definitely will be interesting to see. I mean, I don't think Milwaukee really cares if he's in the conference or not, because by the time Milwaukee gets good again, he will be pretty much out of his prime. So I don't think they're
Yeah.
losing sleep if they trade him to an Eastern Conference team or not.
No, no, no. I don't think that really. And I think also he's done enough for that franchise that they will be willing to work together to find him a place that he wants to work with, and vice versa, he's willing to work with them. So there's kind of a mutual benefit to,
They
hey,
better.
yeah, they better, but also, I
The
mean,
best.
to be fair,
Yeah.
let's give. They signed his family multiple times,
I'm
taking up
not saying
Ross's spot.
that. I'm just saying when you
Yeah.
send off, and we've learned it in this case, ask Mr. Patrick Wiley, who is
Oh,
never
I see what
going
you're
to do that
saying.
right, right?
When
There's
you
certain
send off a guy at a certain stature, you got to get
right.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, you just gotta make it right so it's not poisoning your fan base and causing ruptures within your organization. So he's the greatest buck ever. So do it right. That's all. If Wade was the greatest Heat ever, there's better
Right.
ways to go about it, in some way. So I think from that perspective, just do it right. That's all. So put him
I
in a
agree.
decent spot. He's gonna do what he's gonna have to do, or
You're not sending him to the Kings.
he's gonna do what exactly.
So Brooklyn's. So let's talk about that, right? So Brooklyn is like kind of lingering here. I've heard rumors that he might have a certain company or whatever out in Brooklyn. Do you see Brooklyn as a player when it comes to the Giannis sweepstakes, so to speak?
I think at this point now, and it's funny, if I'm Brooklyn, I'm sitting there going like, well, what do we have to do to tell you that we mean business? Because Brooklyn has been proven that they, especially not so much when they're in New Jersey, but when they've been in Brooklyn, they can get big names. Unlike their
Yeah.
team down the street in Manhattan, they can get big names. And I don't know why people take Brooklyn lightly. It's like, no, boy, Brooklyn's in the mix with my man from China. Yeah, you better believe that they're going to try to make a bid for him. So
I mean, even his wife, that man, he is. She makes big moves as well with the Liberty as well. Winning.
exactly,
So
exactly. I mean,
they're no
he's always
joke.
like,
They're serious about spending money.
why is he our new head coach for the Tempo? See what they thought about that, right? Like it's like, yo, man, they don't play. So like if they see an opportunity to get Giannis, who's one of the best 3 players or 4 players in the
Mhm.
league, like yeah, they're gonna do it. All that stuff he said at the beginning of the year about how essentially that they're pretty much tanking for the next year or two, that's out the window if you get
Do you think
Giannis.
that they would? Do you think that they will go for Giannis or successfully?
Yes, I successfully get him. I think they have as good a chance as anybody in the East. Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Because they have the picks first of all, right? So it's like if picks is what you want, we got you. We got a nice platter full of picks, and not only do they have the picks, but they also have a lot of different prospects that would be good to kind of try, and also enough to like give and still have things held back for future.
Right. And the other thing that helps them out too is, I'm sure when they made the trade for Porter Jr., they thought he'd be a nice player
Yeah.
and he'd help kind of transition to the next phase. They
Mhm.
didn't expect this, right?
Oh, so you're
And
saying that they would try to keep Porter?
that's what I'm saying, because
Yeah.
now Porter gives you an attractive piece for a guy. Giannis, like, well, a guy's getting 26 a night, and I can play with him. All of a sudden now it's like, oh,
Yeah.
if Porter was just doing what he's doing in Denver, say he's having 16, 17 points a game, just shooting threes and doing nothing else, he'd be like,
Yeah.
okay.
The back looks great.
Yeah, right, exactly. But I mean, this is an all-star consideration. Like, so, like,
Yeah.
when you look at that, it's like, oh,
Yeah,
I got
if their record was better, he would be an
for
all-star
sure.
without
You
question.
know, I have a theory about that though, but I don't know when we do if we're going to, when the all-star thing comes. I'm curious to see what happens with that. Let's put it that way. I posted on
You think that
my
there's a world that he makes it? I mean, he
uh,
was very high up with the fan vote.
I think let's put it this way: if he made it, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think there's another element that has not come into play, which I mentioned on my podcast the other day, is that the international element people are not taking as seriously as they should.
Yes,
So
but
like,
he don't help with that
no,
though.
not him. I'm not saying that. I'm saying other players in this case are international, quote, international players that might get a nod that people don't
That's why
expect.
I'm saying like a guy like Norm is probably going to be potentially there because the international element and stuff like that they're trying to play on it.
Mouse Man Debbie over there, he's in a lot of like NBA.com guys had him on their list. Like I'm just
I
saying.
I, I now I know some people feel a particular way because of different. I'll put it this way: keeping it strictly basketball, he should be in consideration. He's
Yeah,
done
I
a
honestly
phenomenal
I
job.
thought the Blazers would be
We
sharp.
won't go into
I thought the Blazers would be sharp, but my point is both of them are international players.
Mm, he's played
So
better than Sharp. He's outplayed
so,
Sharp.
but my point is like either him or Sharp or whoever the case may be, that you might see some surprising names that people are not having in their radar right now.
Mm,
Like I said on my pod, if Siakam got picked, I would not be surprised. Right?
right.
Because because All Star is supposed to be for individual talent, not really for anything that you need. But especially if they're looking for international players, you only go so far trying to jimmy a bunch of Americans to come and be your international.
Yeah, so I'm just looking right now. Both have great stats, by the way. But yeah, like it's, I mean, like Denny is 25, 7, and 6.
Mm-hmm.
This is basically 25, 7, and 7, more or less.
That's fantastic. That's LeBron James numbers.
You know,
So yeah,
Sharp's not quite there, not quite
no,
as efficient, but
he's
he has
improved.
improved his efficiency. He's 35% shooter, just
Yeah.
like
So
Denny,
yeah. So from that
but
perspective, yeah,
22 points. So it's and
yeah,
four rebounds, 3 assists. So
yeah. No,
I give the man the taller man the nod. Although
yeah. No, I give it to
he's not
Debbie. No.
taller by that much. So you know,
Yeah. But I mean, like, I must admit, it caught me off guard. I knew he was around 20. I didn't think he was up to 25. So
yeah.
that was like, oh, never mind. My apologies.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with your game.
Guy was around
Yeah,
21, 20. I was like, oh, snap. He's at 25. Never mind.
true.
I removed my bid.
So yeah, so just to go back to the Giannis thing really quickly, I just mentioned that Portland. Speaking of these two, it's a
Mm-hmm.
good natural transition. Portland is interested in Giannis, and I think that they have. I've moved them. If I were to put the rankings or whatever, they've moved up on the power board for me.
Our rankings moved up.
You know, because then when I thought about what they could give up, salary wise, prospect wise, et cetera, they can give a lot to get Giannis and be very competitive in a lot of different ways. And especially since some of their guys are both locked up long term and still today, this year, on rookie scale deals, you know, there's a lot of things that they could give. So do you want me to toss out a random deal, or what do you think in general?
You can toss out a deal, but I'll just say this: when these type of things happen, I never usually look at the player, especially with more mature players. In this case, I always look at the wife or the companion. Where does she want to go? Because when it comes to that, you got 2, 3 children and stuff like that. They have more say in a lot of times.
To be fair,
Mhm.
them little kinship people, the children, they're in Greece right now.
Right, fair enough. But she also, fair enough, that's true. But they still got to live somewhere.
They were smart enough. They already left.
They still got to come back here to live at some point at some city, in this case in North America. I just think the missus seems like she's got some other stuff that she would like to do too. And I would just say, like, you already mentioned the Brooklyn element to it. I would just say, I would say,
I think there's a reason why Toronto's also been on the list as well.
Right. I didn't want to say them in this case off the top.
I said it.
We
don't have to go into it, but there's a lot of things going. A lot of moving. You know what? It's my pod. There's a lot of moving parts in the States right now, and there's a lot of players who have spoken up about what's going on in the States. Mm-hmm. And essentially, I think that international players don't feel completely secure and safe, nor do their families speaking up about what's going on.
Mm-hmm. So I would just, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think from a pure basketball standpoint, Portland's going to be one of the most competitive
Yeah.
offers because they have a ton of stuff to offer.
So are you moving them up in your because they also still have Dame. Dame is there,
Yes.
right? He did enjoy playing with Dame, and they
Yeah.
and Dame was taken care of by Milwaukee, so there's no bad
Yeah.
blood there.
Yeah.
Um,
You might want to repay the favor.
you might want to repay the favor exactly.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have Drew Holiday there as well.
Another guy he's played with. um,
Hmm.
I think they have some guys that I think he would like to play with, and they have some young fresh blood that I think he will find exciting to play with. Like, and then also too they have the key part, which I think is key to him too. Very similar to Anthony Davis. Can you play center? Yes. Would you like to play center? No. He was
They can make moves that don't necessitate him having to play center.
exactly right. So he doesn't have to worry about that in Portland. So I think that is a positive from a pure basketball standpoint. They
Yep.
would be pretty high up on the list in my mind. The only thing that would be regrettable in this case, I think, from a Giannis perspective, and this came out in the offseason, is that, listen, he sees where the winds are blowing from a basketball standpoint. And which way is the fastest way you can get to a title? Going through the West or going through the East?
Yeah, the East, but some of those squads are not as easy to yeah. There's a reason why there's more on his list. There have been more Eastern Conference teams,
Yes.
so there's no question
So,
about that.
yeah.
From
So,
from a Bucks perspective, though, I will say this: Portland has two of the Bucks picks in the
yeah, yeah,
next
yeah.
5 years.
The picks as well as young players, I always like to say you can sell on the
That's the
program.
other thing.
They got a couple of options there. Yeah, let's put it that
Can
way.
I? So I'm gonna just toss out a deal. You can tell me what you think. It
Okay.
sounds like you're leaning against the Portland as
No,
being
I'm not
a
leaning
real.
against Portland. I'm just saying I'm just cognizant of the personal element of it and the fact of the championship element of it that might
Okay.
hurt Portland. Those two things, but it doesn't mean Portland purely on
Because
basketball.
it would be a competitive team, is all I'm going to say, and it would be
Exactly.
competitive in that conference as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm going to just toss out the thing, and then we can kind of move on to,
Yeah.
to other situations, and we can kind of move on. But I am curious, like if you were to rank a top four power rankings of contenders for Giannis specifically,
Mhm.
how you would rank it. So I tried this on Fanspo, so it generally works, and there's different iterations of it, but. Big salary piece, Jeremy Grant. Okay, that's the first thing.
Mhm.
So that gets you a good chunk of the way there.
Mhm.
After that, you can include, and I think I sent this to you, but it was you can use guys like Jansen. Is it Hansen Yang or I think it's Hansen Yang?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
almost said Jansen Hang.
yeah.
So Jansen Hang, Hansen Yang, sorry, is probably the one that I would definitely toss in. Low salary, good stuff.
Mhm.
If you also want to add another salary that is expiring, you could add a guy like Robert Williams, for example, or Matisse Thybulle. And then you can also add Scoot Henderson. So that gives them a couple different players in a couple different positions. It gives you a former top four pick who, yes, has been injured, but he did show a lot of improvement before he went down. And so it gives you something to sell to your fan base, but it also gives you more control over your future. And if they wanted to, they could also include a bunch of different seconds as well. But it would be like the two Portland picks and maybe one other pick if needed. But really, the focus would be on second rounders, and then you're more so giving Scoot Henderson stuff. If it really was a sticking point, you could probably also toss in Sharp.
Well,
Because he makes
if
the
I'm
money.
Milwaukee, he's the one I want. With all due respect, Scoot. If I'm from
Okay.
Milwaukee, I'm looking at your deal now.
Yeah. I'm just saying, money wise, you're already there. So if you wanted to swap out Robert Williams and for Shaden Sharp, that there's a monetary difference there, but it's within $2 million. It probably would still work on Fanspo. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah.
Scoot, Sharp are your main things. You get control over your future. At that point, then I'm not including a third pick. It's just you get your pick. You get your picks back, and then that's it.
I don't think Milwaukee wants to be in draft purgatory for who knows, 4 years or something like that. So I think
I am also hearing some wariness over other teams willing to sign him to a potential $245 or $275 million extension.
Who's
so
that?
just teams in general. They didn't
Giannis?
say which teams. Yes.
Oh.
It,
Yeah.
it seems like same with Luca, where he was looking at a $345 million full max extension, super max extension.
Mhm.
Some of these ownership groups, as they are getting smaller and smaller and more corporate in terms of the groups that are purchasing in, it seems like they want to run it as a business. And I think
Mhm.
that unless you're really, really, truly competing and going over the top every so often, it seems like they want to trim the fat. So,
Mhm.
yeah, so that I think it's a competitive. They can put together competitive
They
iterations
definitely
of
can.
this. I would
Yeah.
not start with Sharp, but if it came down to it, they could add Sharp.
Yep, 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 for sure. Yeah, this is a good start. Like this is a good deal. I think it all depends if they want the draft picks
They'd be
more.
keeping Klingon, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. I think Klingon would be out of the deal. I would if
Right?
Portland.
You'd have your point guard lineup would be Dame and Drew, or Drew could start next to Dame. You'd have Denny
Kamara at small
Advia.
forward.
You would have Giannis, and you'd have Klingon.
Right. But Kamara's not playing small forward?
Uh, no, because you'd have to. Denny should be playing that.
Or Demi? Oh yeah, he's right. Forgot he's in there for that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah,
they were
yeah.
both those. Yeah, no, I thought
So
they both
so so you'd have that guy Kamara coming off of your bench, which
off the
would
bench.
be.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I thought they were both starting now, but I can't remember. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, I mean,
It's a
for
solid team.
yeah, it is a very solid team. I don't know if it gets them near the hurdle or something like that, but it's a solid team, and it would cause
I mean, in terms of height, there's very few teams in the West that are bigger.
it will cause a lot of matchup issues for certain teams. Like you say, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I think it would be, yeah, it would definitely do so. But I would say from Giannis' standpoint, I guess in your power rankings,
Yeah.
I still feel I think Portland. You said four teams.
Yeah.
Okay, I still feel Portland pretty high. I think it would be maybe three, maybe. I
So
think
I'm
Houston.
saying, I'm like, now that I'm looking at it, I didn't realize, I forgot that they had the Bucks picks. I'm like,
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
does.
I think Houston will still be ahead of them in my mind.
I've heard Houston, it could be posturing, but Houston is reportedly out.
Hmm.
They're not interested.
You know what? I'll believe
As
it.
I said, it
Okay.
could be posturing. It is
But
trade deadline.
yeah, if they were in, they would definitely be the one that I would put ahead of them. I think the other team, is there anyone else who's got a lot of good picks? I think, and then the intangibles with
Because
Brooklyn.
I'm looking at the combination of stuff. Like New York can get into the mix, but it's like, are you wanting to build a team with Cat, or would you rather? Okay, say you can get Shade and Sharp. It's not guaranteed because you are getting scooped, and there's a chance that you don't get Shade and Sharp. So
You
just
know,
just just keep that
that's
in
the
mind
part. Yeah, the Milwaukee part, like Knicks, Milwaukee doesn't work because
because they
I
got to
don't think.
convince someone else to give them enough so that the negotiation is you're getting Shade and Sharp.
Oh yeah, I'm in Portland, but you were talking the Knicks just now. Like
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
no,
see.
but I guess I'm saying to connect to the Knicks, I don't see the Knicks offer doing that.
Right. Oh, you okay? So okay, you're going where I was heading. Is like if they're talking about a young quote star to kind of start building the next phase of Milwaukee basketball, the Knicks got nothing to offer. Nothing to offer.
It's
So
old. It's old dudes and
it's
older dudes.
yeah, older, yeah. It's like guys. I mean, he sounds like my father now, man. He's like I say, like, whoa, they're not that old, Dad. It's like like these guys are all in their mid to late 20s. They're not,
I mean,
like
Cat is going to be turning 30 this year,
yeah, he's the oldest of the bunch, but he's
and
acting like
he's one of the main ones that has been talked about. Now, I would
I
try to
know,
pair
I agree,
thing with
but
Cat. That's just me,
yeah.
but I don't think that they're
But
going
the
to be
Knicks
able
are
to do
not an
that.
old team, is what I'm saying. They're all
No,
these
no, no,
in
no,
their
no.
prime, right? So my father's like, "Oh, this old team is like, what are you talking about?" I said, "Brunson's like 27 or something like that. What are you talking about?" It's like,
Yeah, I don't think Bridges is selling it though.
no, no, you can't get away with that again. I mean, Brooklyn, got the heist of the century on that puppy boy. It's like, yo, we good, and now they might use those same picks to get Giannis.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I like.
So you're putting the Knicks lower, I guess.
Wait, yeah, much lower. Yeah, the
So
Knicks
they're at the bottom, closer down to the bottom of the top
bottom. Yeah,
five.
like I would honestly, I think the Raptors have a more compelling offer than Knicks.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah,
So you have three more teams, or yeah, three more
yeah.
teams. All right,
Um,
and since you're putting the Raptors in there, you
yeah.
can rank the Raptors after. But who are the other two teams?
I think if we wanted to, I think my Detroit Pistons can make a very compelling offer. I
Yeah.
think
I have
Detroit.
not heard much about.
No, I would. As a businessman, I would not want that. To be honest with you, I would be sitting there wondering, like, what the hell are we doing? But if we had to, they would be in there. Now, I don't know who else. I mean, the Lakers are always throwing their name in there. They ain't
No.
got nothing there. They're kind of the Knicks in that
Someone
sense.
was asking me about like Austin Reeves.
Nah, that ain't cutting it, dudes. That ain't cutting it.
I'm sorry, like Austin
That
Reeves.
ain't cutting
Really?
it. That ain't cutting it. This is an interesting one because now with the Paul George stuff, this one is fascinating.
I was gonna get to Paul George later on, but yeah.
The 76ers are an interesting spot.
Philly is lurking, but
Yes.
the problem is, so it's like, would you trade? It's like basically it'd be like Paul George and like, I don't know, say VJ.
It's got to be VJ. Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
Because now you essentially the Paul George.
true.
Because you're Milwaukee.
Because Jared McCain is not selling it right now.
Yeah, exactly. VJ starts you off the new era, and you tell Paul George to do his podcast and have a nice holiday for the rest of the season. Because he's only coming back with 10 games left.
Would you like that
If I'm Milwaukee?
No. I mean, like, what's left over? Do you like that from a 76er standpoint?
I think they have enough to stabilize because
It'd be like Maxey, Embiid, and Giannis. And Embiid doesn't like to be in the post, but Giannis doesn't mind being in the post.
Exactly. Oubre Jr. and the rest of them, it's a pretty compelling team, man. And the thing is, when Embiid has to take his sabbatical in this case here, for the most part, Giannis would be there playing with Maxey. You know, he's a good player on the guard, two-man game. Maxey and Embiid,
Maxey, Embiid, Maxey, and Giannis.
Yeah, and Maxey by himself is already hard to handle by himself. You get him any of those two.
It is not a very deep team left over, but So I'll say.
Yeah. I will say this now. I mean, that will say in this case, what is it? Because I mean, the rumors are going. They're looking to trade. What's his name the other day, right? What's his name? The center, Drummond.
Yeah.
Right. I would think Drummond would stay there at that point.
So who else? So okay, so we have this.
So let me rank it this way to simplify it. Okay.
Yeah.
1, Houston in my mind. 2, if I'm
even though Houston said that they're not interested.
I ain't buying nothing but Houston, man. Houston notoriously over history. Never doubt Houston. All right. Everyone's like, "Oh, Houston's not involved." I
mean, they do tend to get into the mix, but yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that said, Daryl Morey is not in Houston anymore, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but Houston historically, okay.
I mean, to be fair, they just got Kevin Durant, so.
Historically, you're going to put down
James Harden.
You got all-time greats, right? You have
CP3.
The next team that has like the most all-time greats.
And rumors for Dwight, like okay,
Dwight,
okay.
Never leave Houston alone. You turn your eye on Houston, watch out. You can get a stunner. Okay,
true. Okay, so
Houston 1, 2 would be I think Brooklyn. If I throw everything together, just slightly ahead.
Now we're going past 5 then, because you said the Raptors.
Yeah. I don't get them. So Portland's 3. I think 4. I think right now. I think it's the Raptors. I think the Raptors would be 4. I think. Okay. I think they would be my 4th team, and then I think after that, I think there's a drop off. I don't think there's anyone else. I think I can think of seriously, unless you get OKC, and then it's like.
Some people would say Golden State, but I don't.
No, not in those teams. No.
And I know you're a Kuminga fan, but I really don't think Kuminga.
No, I don't. I like Kuminga, but if I'm looking at the packages there, not about the packages I just mentioned.
So
they would be 5th.
Okay, so Brooklyn.
So I have
it's Houston, Brooklyn,
Portland, slightly behind them, the Raptors, and then there's a drop off. To me, would be Golden State would be next. You're saying so? I think Philly would be in that same category.
So Philly's below us, basically, in terms of
I would move Philly ahead of Golden State though, because if I had my choice between Kuminga and VJ, essentially, give me VJ.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So I'll just from a Raptors perspective, is there a way to get? I do think that there is a way to get Giannis, but it's tough without giving up Scotty Barnes. However, I think it makes it really tough.
Well, if you base on what our discussion's been about, if it's not Barnes, then they drop like a stone from an offer standpoint.
Yes.
Right, that's the play.
Yes, so it makes it very difficult to get that, because then you're basically going to be trading away a lot of your future. And it really comes down to how do they view a CMB in lieu of keeping like your 2026 pick, which won't be worth much anyways. I don't know. So, but there is an argument. I will say this, that if you could do it, Barnes, Ingram, and Giannis is not a perfect fit, but there is something interesting there to try to make it happen. Um, the
Well,
challenge that I have is that you have two of those guys have basically indicated that they don't want to play center, and that's including Giannis.
that's the problem with the Raptors side of things. But you see, there's the other problem with the Raptors, which is the point that we kind of were dancing around. But this is the reason why when I say play the young guys, there's also benefits of playing the young guys more than just on your own team. Because
Yeah,
if you had a dude that was popping, like say Grady took
now
off,
they don't have to get seasoning. Now they're already seasoned,
right,
ready. Put them on the grill. Get a
right.
meal. You're good to go.
The meal, right. You already got the meal ready to go, right? Because then Grady could be
This
the
is
centerpiece of a deal if he was at that level.
sponsored by George Foreman Grills. Yeah, but yeah, no, I agree. So we're in agreement. I think we're in agreement about that. So just to now switch to the Raptors
Mhm.
overall, because I think we've kind of talked over. Or actually, wait, no. Before we get to the Raptors, one important thing, and I'm sorry that this is kind of meandering a bit. Um, let's talk about buyers and sellers.
Yes.
Okay. Overall, teams that we've kind of identified looks like Golden State because especially with the Jimmy stuff, they need to do something
Hmm.
if they want to maintain some sort of semblance of anything this year and be real about it. I don't know what that is. I know that they're in the mix for Giannis. I don't think that they're seriously in the mix for Giannis unless Giannis is absolutely like to Portland. I need to go there. Then fine, but I don't think that he is doing that. I think he's giving them a list, which by the way we are on the list. Um, there is also Phoenix. I'm not sure exactly what they're looking for. We've heard that they are in the mix for Sabonis. I don't really get that one because they just traded for Mark Williams. They have Nick Richards and they have Malawach who they don't even play.
They're like the anti-Raptors.
So I really they are. So I really don't understand what they're giving up. They could give up Jalen Green, who's been heavily injured this year, but I don't know if they need a Sabonis.
They're not doing that.
Um, there's now Boston. They are looking for a center, probably not Sabonis, but they do have an expiring Anthony Simons that they would. They also just there was a trade that was proposed recently that was rejected with an Anthony Simons kind of package for Zubac. Actually, it was yeah, it was Anthony Simons and I think a pick for Zubac,
Or Big
and
Z, boy,
that was
Raptor fans
rejected,
would pretty much be going to the bar if that deal happened.
no doubt. So Portland, obviously, we've just talked about them. OKC with iHeart being down, we see that there are cracks that are really starting to show with that team. I don't know if it's a Giannis move. They have the pieces for a Giannis move, but I don't know if the Giannis move is what they're looking for. And then, of course, the New York Knickerbockers. Um, Raptors are kind of, we'll say they're a half buy. Now, sales teams are Grizzlies, Mavs, Bucks, and Atlanta. Any quibbling about those two lists?
Not really. I think what we mentioned off air, like I think I think Dallas, fair enough, has to be there, but I think overall they're kind of going to back out of it because the injuries to Anthony Davis just makes life easy for them. So I don't think they're going to make as much moves as people think they are at this point. But the other team, I think
Well,
that we
it doesn't make the salary easier for them, but yes.
no, it doesn't. But I think Dallas will ride it out and just see what happens in the offseason. I don't think they're in any hurry. And the fact that Cooper's playing so well, I think it makes it a lot easier for them to kind of say, you know what, just let the kid grow and
Yep.
he's putting up like monstrous numbers. So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Um,
Atlanta obviously made the move where they just
they
acquired two second rounders, as I mentioned earlier, for Krejci. I think that they're soft
they
selling.
yeah.
They don't have control over their pick this year, but they do have control over a better asset, which is I would not if I were them, I would not trade that for Giannis. But
Mhm.
they basically have two cracks at a top four lottery pick.
Yeah. I think Atlanta is definitely going to sell. I think when you trade Trey Young, you're pretty much putting up the white flag.
Yeah.
And I
But
think that
they can't sell so much that they have to rebuild next year because they don't have their pick for next year.
true, but I think their mindset might be is to your last point is that if they can hit on one a lottery pick this year, then they have JJ, and they still got Ricochet. And I
Yep.
think they're figuring out there's our core, and that's what we'll fill around the blanks from there. And we'll live with about 1 year. In fact, based on how the draft's supposed to be next year, it's not supposed to be the best draft in the world too. So it's like if there's ever a
Yeah.
draft you will need to be in, that might be the one.
But that's
So
what
I
I'm
think,
saying. Like
yeah,
they can't sell too much. So for example, I can see them try. I don't think that they're going to be successful, but Kristaps Porzingis is a good example.
right. I think
They
he's
would try to move him
yeah,
as an example. A
yeah.
worst case scenario, he is expiring, so they don't have to do anything.
I think the Great Barrier Reef might be in. It might be be for some in some circumstances he might go.
Who's that?
Huh?
Who's
I'm
that?
talking about what's his name, man? Yazi,
Which one?
the guard. What slipped my mind right now.
Oh, Dyson.
Yeah, Dyson Daniels. Yeah,
Hmm.
like I could
Yeah,
see him getting moved in. It wouldn't surprise me.
yeah.
I mean, he's a
I
guy.
could see it.
Yeah, he's
I
a
can
guy.
see
If
it.
you're a winning team, he's great. Like he's kind of like a Josh Hart. But if you're not winning, guys like him don't make sense on teams that are mediocre or losing. Like I said before, he's like Josh
No,
Hart.
because it's a weird fit, and he's not really shooting the ball really well
No,
at all. So yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, so I agree with that. And you know, in terms of the sell, Grizzlies are the one. So yeah, now let's focus on the Raptors.
Yeah.
Sabonis is probably the likely candidate. I think as everything is kind of shifting through, there's just a lot of smoke. It's not really going away. We'll see if it actually happens, but there is a move, and it would make sense because then it helps the Kings to balance the roster. However, there is one other guy that might be interesting for the Raptors' perspective. That would be Myles Turner. Because if the Bucks are going sell, 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 and they might be in a situation where if they're trading Giannis, regardless of what happens, they're like we're not going to be good anyway. So we're okay with taking Jakob Pertl and trading away maybe Turner if we can get a pick out of it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be this year's pick either.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that?
They both make a lot of money, but at least one of them plays.
Like it'd be basically some variation of Pirtle and Abaji for and a pick.
Okay, I'll be serious about it from this standpoint. Okay, the money is the money, but from a basketball perspective, Turner it would fit better with what they want to do because he's actually one of the best shot blockers in the league. So now
around the rim, he is a legit rim protector.
Rim protector. So if you're gonna run guys into the rim, which is what they try to do at Pirtle, which didn't ever even make sense because he's not do it. He's just not.
They do it a little bit with Scotty now, and it kind of works. But Scotty's like 6'8", right? So he's not quite.
Right. So if you have Barnes and him on the same front line, that's pretty intimidating. So it's like okay. And I always say, man, Barnes has an impeccable timing for blocking shots.
Yes, he does.
It's really impressive from the perspective of like he'll block him at angles I didn't think he could get to sometimes.
Yeah, he likes to sit on it and then just come up and he has a lot of power.
It's really impressive. So you have Barnes, you have Turner, and now it's like okay, we're working with something. Now on the offensive end, well, he can shoot threes.
So the other thing is that yes, Turner hasn't played super well, but the key thing is you're getting them off a little bit of money, Milwaukee, but you are giving them a pick. I'm not here to quibble over what pick, but you are also getting off Pirtle.
Exactly. And the other thing is getting off Pirtle. That's why I joked a little bit, but I meant it. You actually have a guy who can play. It sounds like a simple thing to say, but it's like, yeah, now I have a guy who plays 30 minutes a night. That's actually a center. And he's 7 feet tall. It's like, yeah.
What a shock, as you say.
What a shock. And Turner, for the most part, at least recent years, he seems to be fairly healthy in recent years. So it's like, okay, he'll give you a fair amount. You can check, but I'm pretty sure I know we obviously had the championship run or the run last year, the year before. I think he's pretty healthy the year before. And so far this year, I think he's pretty much played most of the games for Milwaukee. So like if he stays healthy, and nowadays that's almost like a bonus if you get a guy can actually stay like able to play 60 games or more. Like, okay, we'll roll with it. It's like
yes.
I don't even assume anymore that guys will play 70 games. It's like give me 60, I consider that a win.
The way that I put it is Turner is what Raptors fans thought they were getting from Mamu. Now Mamu has not been bad, but it's like if I'm going to pick in terms of who could be a better defender, Turner's the better defender. Number one, number two, in terms of who can more consistently shoot, spread the floor, also a 7-footer. Yes. Turner would be the guy.
But now you lead into another discussion when it comes to moves, and this is the move I've been hoping that more Raptor fans even discuss because I am open to moving Mamu, right? And now we're talking about a position where if you get Turner, who replicates and does it better essentially than Mamu, the same skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you need Mamu in this case here at this point, where you could go and find something else that you could fill that with? And if that's a young big or something like that, fine. If it's Yves Missi as a young big, and you move Mamu out the door and something else, hey, maybe that's ideal. And have a different type of roster where some guys that can do different things. Because having Mamu and Turner, it seems to be kind of like a bit much. Because like if Turner's going to play 30 minutes a night, how much Mamu's really going to play? And you still want CMB to get minutes.
So I'll give pushback on that for sure, but my first pushback is not about who's on the court, but if you're giving up a pick to get to get the guy, to get Turner, you might have to, and you're probably going to give up Abaji as well. Getting a guy like Yves Missi is now more difficult, where you're going down in terms of money wise.
Fair enough. I mean,
so now you're looking at potentially, would you give up a first rounder for Yves Missi, and now you've given up 2 first rounders?
No,
and that's where it's like it's a little bit tougher to kind of argue in favor of that.
Okay, so let me gear it down then. Let me say, okay, maybe Yves Missi is too much of a catch to try to be a catch at this point here. Maybe it's a second round, high second rounder. That's I think that you find on someone's bench sitting around. Right now, I mean, for example, I'm not dealing with Ainge. I know in this case he can still want a first round pick for Kessler, even though you don't play him, or if he's hurt half the time. I don't know, right? But like, if you get to a point where it's like a guy that's like a second round pick that's and even Kessler got picked like 20 something, right? Like it wasn't like he was picked like in the top 15. I think it was like 24th or 25th.
I'll check right now.
But yeah, because I remember that's the Cloco draft I recall.
But they've been holding on to him for so long though.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I kind of bite my tongue because Ainge, because like that dude was squeezed blood out of a stone any chance to get. So like I don't want to even deal with him. But some player kind of like in that
22nd, yeah. I mean, he would be nice, but I doubt that you're going to get.
No, yeah, I don't want to get some literal
like him. Like that would be nice, but also again going back to my point, the second that you trade Abaji, and you're not going to trade Abaji back to them for that, but the second that you trade Abaji, like the whole point of trading Mamu is I understand where you're going, but the challenge is that he doesn't make enough salary to get you up to a Walker Kessler. So, and you're still also trying to cut some salary anyways, which you wouldn't be doing in the Turner deal. You're actually, consolidating. I think you might save a little bit of money, but it's inconsequential, right?
And I think what I'm looking at here more so is like a high second round pick. Like, I don't know, like for example,
but you get my point, right? Like Mamu makes the minimum. So you need minimum. And Mamu and Mogbo don't really get
no. So you're looking at a second round draft pick that's sitting on someone's bench. That's what I'm talking about. Just as a young dude, right?
I think that's and I don't. Since we don't, I'm assuming unless you have a name.
Well, unless it's I don't know. Who's Reno playing for again? He's
Well, too bad. Sorry, that's Sacramento.
Sacramento. There you go. Zach Taylor.
but I think that he's part of their future though. So
yeah, right. But I
should have drafted him.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
He just went for 14 and 14 yesterday.
I think about 3 of the guys we talked about we should move potentially because make that right. You can say that same statement.
True. I mean, there's an argument for a guy like Taylor Hendricks, for example, but that's still not answered. But he's a first round pick, but he's also not answering the questions.
Right. So like that's why I'm not even touching the lottery pick guys.
He's 6'9", right? So that's not really.
That's not even what. Yeah. So like you gotta look for a second rounder. It's kind of on someone's bench. It's like, okay, you know what? Let's give him a shot and get and he's getting some decent minutes or something like that.
Like a Nick Richards, but then again, like it's like.
Right, Nick Richards. Right now,
this is the problem. It's like the money. Sorry, I keep cutting you off there.
The money, right? Because the argument would be if you had the money right, you could have made the deal for Malawatch because he ain't playing there.
Well, I kept trying to tell you that, but you said that there's no way that they're trading him. So, and I keep.
No, I don't think they're trading him. I don't think so. But at least if you had the ammunition to make it compelling,
you could make it a serious conversation.
Because the landscape's changed. When Phoenix was doing that, Phoenix was like, okay, we're a middle of the road, maybe we might get into the play-in. Now Phoenix is like, oh, well, hold on one second. Yeah, we got a pretty dang good team here now. Hold on one second. And knowing how that owner is now, it's like, well, it's like, you know what? Do we really need this young fella now? Hey, man, we might be a top 6 seed now. Like, hold on.
Yeah. So if if there was a move to get like a Malawatch, that would be interesting.
Right, yeah.
I don't think that there is, but yeah.
Yeah.
What I will say though is to what you were saying for this run, I don't know if I would necessarily ignore Darko for a second, and that because we can go on and on about that forever. There is an argument to say why not roll the dice with Mamu here? Because if you could have, there are lineups that you could put out with Mamu and Turner and Scotty and CMB.
Yeah, and
Ingram. That's a big lineup. Yeah. It's a lineup with a lot of good shooting overall and a lot of some playmaking. Or if you want to sit Ingram, you could put Grady into the mix. Now you have three well-defined shooters. You have Scotty in the middle where he can kind of punch in and punch out. I mean, it's not amazing because you really want someone who can kind of punch in a little bit more. Right. But there's something there. That's something interesting.
Yeah, I'll say it straight. What I'm suggesting, I am definitely in the minority, folks. So I'm on island out here with Jeff Probst. It's just me. Yeah. So I get it. So I think the rationale is that if they were to
Mamu's shooting like 37% this year.
Right, and I think the rationale would be is that they would want the Turner deal because they would make the argument is like now we have consistency through our rotations. Right? So now we can still play the same way, essentially. Doesn't matter which center's out there.
Right.
That would be their argument. And it's a fair argument. I'm not saying that at all. Yes. I just look at it from the perspective of, like, I guess I'm thinking more long-term, and I'm in long-term, like 2 years from now. I'm just thinking, like, okay, when you're in the playoffs, you need a curveball. You don't got no curveball in your arsenal.
You would still have a curveball. So the thing is because you've given up because you've given up Ochai. Ochai has now opened up minutes for 3 players all at once. He's probably opened up say 5 minutes for CMB. So CMB, I don't see CMB not getting at least a minimum of 18 to 25 minutes a night moving forward. And we see that. Like, he is, whatever people want to say about Darko and other players, he has accepted, I need CMB. He likes CMB. So then the real question then becomes for the other guys, right? And obviously that goes to, your guards. And because Ochai's not there, you've now opened up an additional 10 minutes that can go to the two, Jacoby and Grady. Grady already gets on average, if you average it out, it's around 16 minutes a game. But sometimes he plays 25 minutes, sometimes he plays 14 minutes. It's usually not less than that. So now you've added, he's getting a consistent 20 minutes, and Jacoby would be getting a consistent 20 minutes.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, that's ideal. I guess what I mean by curveball, I'm talking about your front court, right? So, for example, you have no lob threat right now if you were to make that deal.
No.
Right? So you don't have anything that if they were guarding the pick and pop in a playoff series.
CMB is technically your lob threat, but he has trouble finishing lobs.
Exactly. Hey, man.
I said it.
So, folks,
and I'm the CMB
he's a CMB
fan.
I said it on my podcast. I said I got prejudice, a bias. I was very straightforward. I don't like tweeners. I said it straight.
I don't like him either, but this kid can play. He can play.
He can play, but this is the problematic part about the tweeners.
Yeah, because there's a couple, like, even when they were facing Orlando, I mean, he was like 5 of 7. He could have been 7 of 7. He missed 2 dunks.
Well, you don't forget there's one that doesn't count on the list where he didn't even look at the rim.
Yes, that too. So there's definitely way, yeah, for sure. But yeah, so I still think it's a solid. I mean, you're not going to answer all questions because I know it's like, okay, well then what's the next move? But I think you answer enough questions there that you now it's a move that makes sense. So
Turner's a win.
For me, Turner and getting off Pirtle, win and win.
Win and win, exactly. Absolutely.
So I think that I think that in terms of order of operations, that would have to come after the Milwaukee deal. So basically, once you've taken yourself out of the Giannis runnings officially, it's like, hey, but we're interested in this other thing.
Well, I think we know how this will play out because I don't think they're going to go and I don't think they're going to push all the chips in and put Scotty on the table.
No.
So if that's not the case, we already know we're just doing this for like performance.
Yeah, but I think it gets you in the conversation enough that you can get into this conversation.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, true. That's true.
Because it's like, let me put you on hold. It's like, okay, sorry, Giannis is done, but are you? It's like, well, actually, I am. It's like a sleight of hand type of thing. So,
Well, yeah. It's covert. Yes.
and this would be kind of more of like a under the radar, quote unquote, let's call it a Bobby-esque move, if you will. Whereas
This
is
one would make more sense. Yes. I would say,
you know how it would work too, because Bobby was on Will Lou's show years ago, and he talked about them almost going for Turner, but Masai, how basically they had decided as a front office, right? For however you wanted it wasn't me kind of a thing, that they held on to the pick too long to try to squeeze the Pacers. So you know how the conversation is going to go. It's just like how when Dad was here or Otto Porter was here. Hey, we always wanted you, and now we brought you home.
Yeah, I know.
5 years late, but better late than never.
But those things never end up well in this case when they do when teams do that.
No, I think that this would end up decent, though. I think it'd be kind of a variation of like Serge Ibaka, if you will.
Yes.
So yeah, where it's like you get him, he's not quite what you thought, but it really works and he's effective enough. And So moving along, I think there's so many things I can talk about with the Raptors, but what I will say is this: we played 2 games recently. And I think that there are lessons into these 2 games, and then that will kind of bring it full circle with Sabonis versus Turner versus whatever. What are the takeaways from the Knicks and the Orlando Magic? Because the Knicks game was not the nationally televised game, but it was an important game, and I think it was a game that a lot of people were paying attention to. The Orlando game was a nationally televised game. Both wins for the other team, both losses, went in a very interesting way. You punched up early on, and then suddenly second quarter comes along. It's like, okay, we're a little bit stuck. Then you kind of figure it out in the third, and then once the third kind of ends, I heard Darko complaining about for the Orlando game about some call that happened in the third. And I'm like, brother, you were up in the third.
Something like that? Really?
It's like, brother, you were up at the end of the third. You were up, and not by like barely. Like you were like I was like, oh man, I might have to turn off this game because they're up by 10, and all of a sudden, you go get some water and something like that.
That happened to me. That happened to me. I went downstairs. I watched upstairs. I went downstairs to get a drink. I come back up. I'm like, what the heck? It's like,
with the tray and stuff.
I had to go back and see what the heck happened with those 10 points. Like, what the heck?
And then they never looked back. And that's the thing. Is like they can't really seem to put teams away, and it goes back to your dog point. But yeah, so I think what are the takeaways here? Because obviously one of the things is teams are zoning them up. We've talked about that since, and now you hear everyone talking about it, but we've talked about that for a while. But the interesting thing is they're not only just zoning up, but they're really, teams are being really hawkish on passes out from the middle of the floor. So they're kind of sitting on your passing lanes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, this plays into 2 things. One, and I think these 2 games are very interesting from the perspective of like the intensity is starting to ratchet up now. And this is the point I made on my pod. It's like teams are now positioning and jockeying to try to get in position as best as possible. It's essentially got 30 games left now.
You mean for the standings, yes.
For the standings, and you have individual, teams are also getting healthier. And the thing I'm saying for the Raptor fans, like when the games start getting tighter and it gets to half-court offense, you don't have any way to break through a half-court offense because, to your point, either A, they're going to play zone on you, and you haven't figured out a way how to deal with the zone, and 2, because as you mentioned before, they're sitting on the passes, they don't have any respect for you as a one-on-one creator. They don't have to worry about that.
Now, we did beat the OKC Thunder the week before. I will point out, you could say it.
Yeah, I hear it. We did, but in some ways, OKC plays into our hands a little bit. Because OKC as a half-court offense at times can be very problematic in their own right.
Oh, I thought you were going in a different direction.
Oh, okay. The injuries, yeah. That we'll get to that, yeah.
Because Casey Wallace went out during the game, right?
I forgot about him too, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
J-Dub, who would normally be the matchup with Scotty, he was out. And iHeart, which again goes back to the whole point of anytime Raptors face guys without a true center, right?
Golden State.
You see the results as they work.
I
don't think that that's going to work in the East playoffs.
No,
but
to your point, to bring back to Sabonis, the second part they have, which the New York game showed as well as the Orlando game shows, is what we discussed earlier: the lack of physicality. They don't have this team gets punched in the mouth, man, and they don't know what to do afterwards. Is the old Mike Tyson phrase. Everyone's got a plan to get punched in the mouth. Yep. And the Raptors are literally synonymous with that statement.
Yes.
The moment they get slapped across the face, they're like, "Oh my gosh, what are we gonna
do?" Yeah, they come out. They're coming out of some of these matchups going in like thumping their chest and coming out looking like the Leafs head coach after a gym session. Where I'm like, I don't know what happened to this dude. So
exactly. So when the time comes, you get down here to 30 games left, and you got teams fighting, scratching, and clawing. And now it's like, oh, we're not resting guys no more, like that, or whatever it might be. Like, I'm sitting there going, like, you guys don't. I ain't sure. You guys ain't ready for this, man. I don't think you guys are ready for this. I don't think this coach is ready for this.
So, what's the takeaway for you?
The takeaway is the reason why, going right back to the beginning of the discussion with Sabonis, is that I think we're, a couple of weeks ago, you asked, you had the three of them: AD, John Morant, Sabonis. And at the time, you and I said John Morant.
Yes.
I moved from that position in this case the last week or two, because if you're seeing what I'm seeing the last week or two on this team, it's something that's bothered me all year, but it's starting to get worse and worse as the season gets.
Well, I think also quickly is. I think that the argument is that which contract do you have to get off more? And it's probably Pirtle, and that's why it's Sabonis.
Right, and that's the reason why I keep saying, when we're talking offline, I'm saying who's taking that contract and giving up something.
And right? Sabonis can help orientate your offense in a particular way. The other thing is that Sabonis is good enough that I don't think we're good enough to like talent wise to rest two starters, like two of your big three. Say right. those were your three. I don't think you can rest both Scotty and Ingram and leave Sabonis out there and have it go well in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. No. However, you can always rest one of the three. Mm-hmm. And that's right now. It's like either one of those two guys, Ingram or Scotty, out there on their own is just not sufficient enough offensively to really keep you in games long term. But
come on, Ken. I mean, Darko or Orlando, he decided to go one better than you. He decided to keep them both on the bench.
Listen, I haven't done my efficiency landscape update, but we have slid back to. We're sliding back to our prominent points.
Because his rotation is
going like this and this, and it's getting closer to this quadrant, which is the no fun zone.
Right. He's got the Scotty BI lineup for the bench unit, and then he's got I call it the Knicks bench unit, which is the quickly RJ bench unit. Yeah. That's how he sees it. So, like,
from a purely basketball perspective, Sabonis does allow you to have a little bit more offensive initiation. You would have to reorientate your offense, but in some ways, it's like what you thought you were getting from Pirtle, you're going to get from Sabonis in terms of an offense, but better.
Yeah. But I think I guess I'm looking at more from the guttural standpoint. They need a dude that's a dog. They need a dude in this case that won't get bumped around, get shoved around.
Yeah, I mean, Sabonis will get his chest trampled on, but
but Sabonis also,
but he'll give it to you on the other end.
Exactly. So he'll give as much as he takes in this case here. And many times we've watched him over the years knock around Raptors like bowling pins. So
you know what he's like? He's kind of like a bigger version of Sengun.
To some extent, yes, yeah. Except I think he's got more of an edge than Sengun in that sense. Sengun, I think, is a little more skilled offensively than him.
Yes.
But in some ways, but that edge is what they're missing. And the second thing that they miss, which is also part of his offense, is he actually is a post player at times.
Yeah.
When things go all wrong, just dumping the post to the big man.
Now, it's a little bit awkward because it's like, are you prioritizing that or are you prioritizing, a floor spacer in where I was talking about? Because, again, if you're complaining so much about 3-point shooting and then you trade for Turner, but then as you're saying, you go and trade Mamu. I that's why I'm like, I don't think that that's what they would do. But
they wouldn't do it. No, they wouldn't do it. But see, they're doubling down, right? And this is the reason why I want to hear this coach talking about fouls, right? When you're going to take a bunch of finesse players and shoot threes all day long, and then you're crying about fouls. Sorry, the two don't equate. So what I'm trying to do is what at least I like with Sabonis. So Sabonis likes friction. That's why I like. Because in the playoffs, you need friction. You got to play through friction. And if nothing else, Sabonis does that. And at least then he will draw fouls just for the fact that he will be in the lane, be it from a rebounding standpoint or scoring from a post standpoint, to draw fouls. Because the rest of these dudes, besides Ingram, can't draw fouls.
So between the two that we talked about,
Mm-hmm.
Sabonis, Turner, from a Raptor standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
who is most likely? My dream is still to go. I'll just mention briefly. My dream is still to go for like a Darius Garland and come under the radar. Just
Well, I
but
hate to break your thing. I think the dream of the point guard is dead.
it
I
is
think
dead.
I think that's dead. I don't think there's any dealing with a point guard whatsoever. So as far as the centers go, I think I of the two, I think I was funny. You can't believe it's two. I used to be debating Indiana which one you would trade. Out there, both on different teams.
True. Very fair. I didn't even realize that, but very true. Good point.
Um, about the mindset, I would think I would take Sabonis. I think of the two.
Okay.
The only reason why is that going back to the last point, that is a psychology element that I think is being underplayed right now amongst Raptor brass.
With Turner, you keep RJ.
Yes, true, but I don't know if Turner gets you past the softness element and the fact that you can't draw fouls because he's going to be shooting threes for like 23 feet too. And it's like, okay, we get more of the same.
He can shoot the three.
Yeah, he can't shoot the three, right? But I'm just saying it doesn't shock the system. It's just more of the same.
Because part of it is just like, yeah. I hear you. The other thing too is that I think that your 3-point shooting that is remaining here can get better. It won't be perfect. You're not going to answer all of the questions, but I think it can get better if you have screening. And Turner is not going to be someone that you can rely to screen on. Shout out to Boy Erks, who was talking about screening the other day. If you Turner would make that man scream.
Yes, exactly. Sabonis is going to set some screens. That is for sure.
Yep.
And the other thing Sabonis is able to do, once again, going back to a low post, because I know the word post play is like a phrase that's almost like allergic in Raptor land. But if he actually posts up, he can draw a double team.
Yeah.
Which we don't have no one else besides Ingram can draw a double team on this team.
Do you think so? There's two things. Their passing really has to be good, but like you do have another passer. You'd have 3 potential solid passers, not amazing, but solid passers on the team or playmakers. This year, Sabonis is shooting 18.5%. Normally, he shoots 34. Do you believe the 34 number? I personally do, but do you think that he can shoot it with a little bit more volume, say 3 a game?
No, he's not. Let's put it this way: he's not 18% free throw shooter, so he's probably like over 30% more times than not, and that's sufficient for what you want for your center.
And do you think he can make more than 2 a game? Like can his career high is 2.5? Usually it's around 2 to 1. Can he shoot 3 a game?
Okay, let me ask you this: does he have to shoot 3?
He might have to on this team, yes.
Why?
To keep to make sure, because he doesn't. Okay, number one, he can hit a 15-foot jumper. He struggles in that 18 to 20 range, right? Like one, he does not like the DeMar DeRozan range. So to stretch that out, he will have to shoot threes. Yes, simple.
Okay, so I feel like when you have your kids in this case, and you're letting one kid get away with something, the other.
I'm saying it's just 3. It's just 3.
Yeah,
three.
But my point is, we have a center right now. Whenever he does play, shoots 0, and we don't even lose sleep about it. Now we want to jump up to 3 now. It's like that's all I'm saying. Like literally 2 would be almost like considered to be like supersized us, like just to have him shoot 2. Heck, he shoots 1. It would be like, oh my gosh, what the hell is that? A Raptor center?
Because you get my point is that it's like the advantage of him is in the playoffs is if he is a danger from 3, defenses have to kind of key in on him.
I grant you that to your stats, I think he's closer to the 33, 34, 35% guy. And to me, that's sufficient enough to keep someone honest in a playoff series. I don't know that he necessarily has to shoot 3 of them, but to answer your point, yes, that would be great. I'm looking at it from the standpoint of the reverse, that if he's actually a post-up threat, which I know he is, now all of a sudden your quality of pass to the shooters, which I mentioned discussing this with you earlier in the week, a lot of people don't talk about this. now the Raptors do get open looks at times, but sometimes some of these passes just be just like, oh no, Scotty's stuck in the air. I'll just toss one by someone's foot. Okay,
So
shoot.
we both agree that it would be an improvement. So yeah.
Yeah, right. Because at
Okay.
least now when you have a structured offense that posts and you throw it into them, someone will double down. Then you can kick it around, which we saw. Ironically, we saw Orlando kill us with that in the fourth quarter. Everyone say, "Oh, Paulo only had 20 and 10, 20, 10 and 4 or 6," but they didn't really look at the game. Paulo had the hockey assist going on. Every time you got doubled, throw it up to one guy, throw it the next guy, and Black or someone in the corner shooting threes. That's what was killing us.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I think that kind of covers everything. Any final thoughts on yours? Sorry, I'm realizing the time. So
Yeah, no problem. I'll just say this, man. Sabonis, man, if you're here, man, I'm sure we got a lot of good food for you. It's Toronto, man. We got food for everybody, man. So I'm sure you'll find plenty of things with the community. No problem.
The Sabonis move, I think, it would open up more. I'm ignoring pick equity stuff, but it would open up potentially more options for people, for bench players to get minutes. So
yeah, I agree, and I think that's why I like
more than just Ochai going, because when you're moving RJ, you're opening. There's like 30 minutes of minutes that have been opened up, and then Ochai can. It's easier to kind of get a deal around. Say getting Yves, Misi, and Sabonis than it is to get Turner and something else. But yeah,
exactly.
But
that's the biggest reason I think I like it. And the other thing, to your point, is I like it also from the standpoint of Sabonis. From a Darko perspective, he would like Sabonis very much too because he likes that playmaking center. And Sabonis has a little bit of that in his game. I don't think I would put it out there too often because he could be very turnover prone. But
yeah,
that's
why I'm saying you can mix and match. Where it's like Sabonis, there's going to be times where it's Sabonis and Scotty out there, or Sabonis and Ingram, or so you can kind of mix and match the three with other things. And there's a lot of different. His presence is enough because you can't just put Turner out there with someone else and them to run an offense. You need someone with a little bit more gusto and moxie, as you say.
And the one thing we even mentioned throughout all this discussion, just a flat thing, the old Charles Barkley line in the Nike commercial. Hey, you can't score unless you have the ball, man. Rebounding.
That's true. He does do. Yeah, he's been like 13 plus rebounds multiple years. So that is, I think that's a pod. Basketball Rewind, thank you for joining me so much, as always, Beyond. We'll get Coach at some point as well. People, stay tuned, tap in, all those things, like, comment, subscribe. And we are out, so take care, people, and peace.